Hi, everybody. It's Crystal again. And just give me half a second here because I'm just going to share this onto our Fertility Blooms page, or not Fertility Blooms, Blooming Hopes page. So then everybody can see it on that page. So just give me half a second here to pop that up. And I'm going to share it. Join us live now. And hang on, I'm still here, guys. Okay. Join us live. And I believe Meghan is going to be sharing it on her page right now. And there we go. And so we're going to be talking with Meghan Manzo from Health and Healing Homeopathy tonight. And as soon as she's got that set, she's going to come on, and I guarantee you she's not just that little icon. We're going to have some interesting chats. There she is. So we got that done, so I'm going to shut that down. And again, I'm Crystal. I'm a fertility coach. Hi, Sandy. I'm a fertility coach. Fertility Blooms. I also am the founder of Blooming Hopes Fertility. And our guest tonight, Meghan Manzo, is also on our board for Blooming Hopes, which is our charity. It's a nonprofit, and we help do resources, provide education, and funding for those people that are having trouble with the fertility journey. So I'm just going to give you a little brief bit about Meghan, and then she'll tell you a little bit more. So she's actually a registered nurse that works in the cardio care unit at St. Joe's. No,
General.
Yeah. General. She's a Reiki master, guru level 2. She does killer mediations, and she's a homeopath. So can you just expand on that? Because that's the coolest version.
Yeah. So, I mean, my passion, obviously, I've been a nurse for 12 years in cardiac ICU. So I have that background behind me, but my passion is in natural medicine. So what is homeopathy? That's probably the biggest thing that I get. And it's definitely different than, a naturopath or Chinese medicine. It's different. So what is it? Well, it falls under the umbrella of alternative medicine. But homeopathy is a natural system of medicine, no different than anything else. The difference is when we use plants and minerals to heal, we use them in very, very tiny, tiny doses over incremental periods of time to gently stimulate the body to heal, because the body has an innate capacity to heal, right? You cut yourself, the body instantly, innately knows how to heal. So it's about boosting your vitality, boosting your immune system, and actually regenerating your immune system using plants and minerals, but in very tiny doses over periods of time to gently stimulate your system. That's the difference with homeopathy, right? Versus, naturopathy. We had Dr. Kristen Wooten on here. She's amazing, and she does naturopathy. And with that, you've got IV therapy, acupuncture, and a lot of herbal supplementation. Homeopathy is a branch off of that.
So it is. Okay.
It is.
I didn't know it was a branch. Okay.
So they use homeopathy, but the study of homeopathy for them, I think I've worked with naturopaths. My best friend is a naturopath. It's only a few courses. I took that modality of healing, of natural medicine, that type of natural medicine, and I studied it for 3 years, and then I went back and did a post-grad. So 4 years total of just intense studying to be a homeopath.
So I think most people, if they think of homeopathy, they think of arnica. Because as soon as I mentioned you, they're like, oh, she probably gives arnica out. And so that's the one thing.
Yeah, I do.
It's goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah, it does.
So it's more than just arnica. And it's little pellets, right?
Yeah, so I mean, the issue is that we're so used to seeing pills, right? Especially as a nurse, people are so used to seeing pills in a bottle and having to take pills every 4 hours. Think of your Tylenol every 6 hours. It's in tiny little pellets, but those pellets are just carriers. These medicines are made in very big laboratories in Canada. There are 2 major ones, and it's actually a liquid. So the pellet itself is just a sugar pellet. It's just a carrier of the actual liquid remedy on top of it, so that the longevity of it in stores can last. That's realistically why they're on pellets, is that so they can last longer, because it's a liquid formula that we use. I also make my own remedies, so I also do that. I do. I stir around.
We're joking, because one of the other things you do and you're really good at is you do guided online meditations.
Yeah.
That's wicked. So that's the remedies, and she's got the whole gamut. So one of the questions is, how can you, all these modalities that you're working with, help us with fertility issues?
Yeah. So, I mean, my practice is a big focus on women's health and hormone and gut, right? And so when you think of fertility issues, that's kind of the triad, the trifecta between mental, emotional, hormones, and gut. They all play a role, and they can all affect fertility. So what I see a lot of the times in my practice is either, you know, on top of conditions like PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids and cysts, and all that other kind of stuff that we see with fertility. It's so interesting because sometimes I get a lot, and sometimes I actually get a lot of patients that come in and they feel great. There's clinically nothing wrong with them. They just can't get pregnant. And so this is why I wanted to shift the focus a little bit tonight on mindset. I've been following along with these videos. They're fantastic. I know our viewers have been following along. We've talked a lot about conditions and how to help with conditions and egg quality and, you know, endometrial lining and that sort of thing. And yes, hormones absolutely need to be co-corrected to support those things. But I think a lot of what gets missed in, I will say this because I'm a nurse, in Western medicine, is that mental and emotional mindset. We can see things from a physical standpoint and we treat, but there's so much more behind that. And so when you really start to dig deep, and that's why I love homeopathy, you know, my initial appointment is 2 to 2.5 hours long. There's a reason for that. We're not just, you're in for it, but I'll tell you, it flies, because we're not just studying.
Are you sitting, laying? What are you doing that whole time?
Shoulder rubbing.
Exactly.
It's flying by though, because we go over, we look at all the physical symptoms of what you're experiencing. That absolutely. And with homeopathy, we are trying to co-correct the hormones and make sure your lining's in check, and your progesterone and your estrogen, and we make sure that that's all balanced. But we have to also dig into that mental and emotional mindset. Where are you at? How are you feeling? What is stressful to you? And what does stress, anxiety, and depression, these terms that we hear so much, what does that even mean? Because those are just generalized terms for an experience, and every single individual has their own experience with it. They feel what they feel, and I think sometimes it's not always validated. And you lose the empowerment behind that, the way you feel as you go through the process of fertility. And as we know, and I also, you know, am personally touched by it, it's a very emotional, it's a huge emotional roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, right? Yeah. So mindset, I had actually, because in the support groups, we have a lot of questions and things come up. And I bring you up a lot, of course. But not only because we're friends, but because your information's good. So some of the things, mindfulness. I love affirmations. On Fertility Bloom's website, you can sign up for like 30 days of affirmations and things. But what other, do you work on, say, mantras that we should do for mindset? Work on meditations? I'm not sure if Insight Timer, because I know Insight Timer I learned from you, but it has amazing meditations. I don't know if they have fertility specific, but I know I have other apps that are just fertility specific. What other things can we do for mindset, but especially mindset for right now during COVID? All of our treatments have been canceled. So that's a whole emotional roller coaster, as well as we know that even if the clinics would open up tomorrow, doesn't mean because our body was good to go beginning of March, our lining might be off, our follicles might be whatever. Our body's been under all this COVID stress. So we might now be another 3 months away when we're ready to go in February. So everybody's mindset with fertility right now is like stressed.
Absolutely.
So, how do you keep that good mindset?
Yes, rolling.
Around
it's not easy, right? And we're in a real time where these waters, like I've said before, they're uncharted. We haven't navigated these waters before. We haven't had to. And we've had all these expectations, especially with along the fertility journey. And your fertility journey is so specific with dates and times that like everything is timed so specifically. We're working around the clock with IUI, IVF, and everything, that all of a sudden everything got blown off the water. So first know that you are not alone, okay? Because this can sometimes be a very lonely journey. The key to any type of mindset is having the awareness to recognize when you're in a destructive thought pattern. It is the awareness that is key. If you can catch yourself in it, you're already ahead of the game, because now you have a different vision, right? So we do this as humans in general. We get into the brain and we have these thoughts. I'm a failure. This is never going to work. I'm like a robot, right? Yeah. It goes like a robot.
We do.
The key to understanding destructive thoughts is that think of it in terms of your body and how your body is going to respond. And this is why I'm so focused on mindset too. When we have a thought, right? It's a, let's just say I'm a failure. That thought elicits an emotion, which if you're thinking you're a failure, it's sadness, it's anxiety, right? So the thought creates an emotion. That emotion is read by the body, and the body doesn't understand that something happened in the past or in the future or now. It just feels the emotion and corresponds. So if you're thinking of a stressful event, let's say you're thinking of retrieval and you've missed your retrieval because of COVID and you're stressing out, you're actually hormonally responding to the stressor that's not even real, right? Because realistically, in this moment, nothing's happening. Yet we've had a thought of all the bad things that are going to come from this. And you know how our mind goes, right? We create different scenarios where this doesn't happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and your body gets stressed, and all those stress hormones start pumping out because your body and brain think, oh my God, we're in a stressful state. We need to be stressed. Let's send the stress hormone out because we're stressed, right? So
that's so true. When I'm either thinking about, especially with the fertility warriors that I talk with, they're either thinking about what's happened in the past. My last retrieval didn't well and it didn't work again. Or about, we're actually here, right?
Yeah.
And I think that with my, if tricks to like come back into that.
I mean, so awareness. So number one, awareness is key. If you can catch that thought pattern, then there's lots of ways to change it, right? So ways to change your mindset. Yes, meditation. It doesn't have to be specific to even fertility. If you do any type of meditation, you are turning off your stress response and turning on your relax mode. That's part of the nervous system. And you're changing the hormonal pattern. You're changing everything in your body. So even if you can give yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day to change and turn off that stress mode, you're already ahead of the game. It's catching the thought. Breath work. How easy is it to just stop and breathe? So focusing on inhales and exhales for just a few seconds even will change the thought pattern. It will lower the cortisol, lower the stress level, and then you can see more clearly because that cortisol hormone creates a foggy brain. It's been proven. It creates a foggy brain, short-term memory loss. So when you take a few breaths, you calm the nervous system down and you can see things more clearly. Changing your mindset, have a buddy system. I mean, Crystal, you do such a great job at, you're a coach, you have these support groups that you run, but having even one person that you can call and be like, listen, I'm going off the deep end. I need a little support. Support is so huge through this journey. And just listen to somebody else's perspective, even if it's just 2 minutes, can change your mindset.
Yeah.
Sticky notes all over your house, on the fridge, on the mirror, to then you have no choice but to look at these sticky notes and bring that awareness back to the goal, how you should be, gratitude, things you're grateful for, things you have. You change the thought pattern, even just by reading gratitude phrases, right? So
yeah, that was another thing I had. That's what we about a lot in the support groups is the gratitude thing. So that's why I was wondering if that was one of them. Yeah. And then, okay, so you did the mantras are probably saying, yeah, like just like tips. Okay, so there's the COVID. Now, like, let's pretend COVID's over. We're back to our treatments. Sometimes say we've had a miscarriage or failed IVF or just bad news altogether that it didn't work, the cycle didn't work, whatever it might be. It's really hard to shift our mindset and back to thinking present and mindset, right? Yeah.
So you need to feel all the things you're feeling. That's number one, right? So allow the feelings to come up. There isn't a way that we should be. I think as women, as business women, as career women, as, you know, we play sisters and wives, as women in general, we're meant to just trudge forward. It's okay to feel all the things you're feeling. So first, feel it. If you're pissed off, be pissed. Express it.
How long do you stay in that moment, though? How long do you feel it?
Well, listen, there's no timeline to how you should feel things. But if you're feeling this feeling for 6 months, then it's going to affect you physically. So if you can recognize that you're stuck, reach out for external help. That has to happen. Whether that's your spouse or a practitioner or a homeopathic, go get a Reiki treatment or just your support system, reach out first because other people may have other resources for you to utilize to help you get out of that mindset, okay? You have to remember one thing is that we can't lose hope. As humans in general, we can't lose hope. And I say this and I stand by this statement. There is never a door shut for you. There never is, especially in holistic and alternative medicine. There isn't a door that's shut. I've had people come to me and say, this is the end. I have no other alternatives. And I'm here to tell you, there is always a way. We have to figure out the way and what's happening along the process. But we have to have hope, because when we have hope, it sets off those happy, good feeling hormones, which intrinsically starts to bring balance to our system. We're already healing when we feel those emotions of joy and hope. It's not over. You have to remember that. And whether you have a sticker in front of you to say, you are a powerful being, we can heal at any capacity. Keep pushing forward. You have to remember that you have to have hope. I got some tips and tools at the end of this that I'm happy to share, and we can maybe post up to the site that can help.
Put it on we'll put links and stuff all over because that's really helpful. And we'll go into the Reiki when we go on to Instagram after, but let's stay on mindset. Mindset right here. So there's the mantra, there's the meditations, there's the gratitude. Oh, visualization is one of the things I had on.
Yeah.
And now I have a lot of people that have not a problem. Yeah. They just don't see it as beneficial. They see it as more damaging, more hurtful if they're trying to visualize like a baby in their life or a baby in their family, because they feel like it's not going to happen. But how important is visualization for like getting your mind right and prepared?
So there's a couple ways you can go about it. So I understand the complaint for some people. Visualization is definitely key. That's why vision boards are going off the charts. Because it's about repetition. When you see something every day and you program your brain to say, I have that, your body, and now we're going to get into the woo-woo spiritual side of things.
Yeah.
In terms of manifesting, right? Because we have the ability to manifest. We manifest all the time. It's just that it's the frame of mind in which we're bringing things in. So you don't always have to visualize. If that's something that's a trigger for you, it's okay. But then I would say, start journaling. And what you want to journal is what you want specifically in life. So if that, what is the perfect ideal life look for you? Writing it down, be specific, because when we're not specific, we bring in things that we asked for that were not specific. And you're like, I didn't ask for that. And then you're like, oh, I did ask for that. I just wasn't really specific. Talk about boyfriends. So you can do writing, because writing programs the brain as well, on top of visualization. It's just a different form. So visualization is a trigger for people. Then get it on paper and write it down, because you're still doing the same thing. You're still creating the same energy. Still doing it. So did we miss on anything for mindset? Like, what else would you recommend for getting our mind right? Like, I love journaling, and I take it as the same thing as visualizing. So that's yeah. So, I mean, like I said, having the awareness to catch the thought is key. Okay. And then on top of that, you can do other things. There's music. So getting your mind in the right mindset, listen to something that you love or that relaxes you. You know how powerful music is, right? I mean, think of a fun song and you hear it on the radio and you're like, oh my God, and you start dancing and you feel great and you start to create the hormones that are happy, and it changes your chemistry in your body. So listening to music, and listen, even if let's say you're heading for a transfer, you're heading for retrieval or a procedure, if you're in the car, put something on that's beneficial, whether that's a positive podcast, whether that's music that gets you going, whether that's your own recorded voice telling you that you can do it. It just by listening, see all the visual stimulus, writing stimulus, hearing stimulus, it all transfers in the brain, and the brain interprets it and then corresponds. So that's another thing. And then for me, I'm such a goof. I love crystals. I love crystals. Crystals hold a lot of power and energy, and there are some really great crystals for healing and for fertility. And like for me, if I'm nervous, I'll take a crystal that just calls to me, and you can hold it in the procedure, you can hold it in the office, and I'm telling you, just having that stimulus and that crystal in your hand, it sounds crazy, but it works. You get that healing energy from that as well.
And that would rose quartz for fertility. What else would you recommend? Rose quartz, right?
Pink agate is a big one that I recommend. Beautiful pink stone. That's actually known as a fertility stone. That's really great. You can have clear quartz. You can do amethyst, which is a beautiful purple. It's a very healing stone as well. Anything that calls to you, pick it up, because it's calling to you, right? Listen to your intuition. And we can probably buy them online. Right? Oh God, you can get them anywhere. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what else? Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to talk about the Reiki and the emotional side on the Instagram side. I just wrap everything up around the whole mindset. And is there anything else? Oh God, because I find that a lot of people get stuck. Mm-hmm. Hi, Monica. I love my room. I find like that the mindset's really what's, like I said, I always have a wheel that I talk about a lot in the fertility journey. And the mindset's the tricky one. I mean, listen, that's part of what I do in my practice. So to circle back, there's lots of things you can do. There's books that you can read. I'll leave some recommendations for you guys too, to get your mindset back on track. There's a motivational speech that sometimes I listen to pump myself up. It really does change that. But if you are really stuck and you cannot get out of your way, go and see a practitioner who can help you, who can be the observer, which, in my practice, that's what I do. I talk a lot now, but I listen a ton in my consultations, because that's my job. And by speaking and talking to somebody on a professional level, we can navigate that mindset. And that's the great thing about homeopathy too, is I'm not just treating the physical. The medicines that you take help to stimulate your coping ability, to change the mindset. It may be difficult to understand how, but I'm telling you, there becomes a shift as you start to heal, as we start to bring balance to your system, and your mindset shifts.
because it also goes with the hormone flux and getting everything on balance. When you're more balanced, your mindset's in check. So you may just have to go see somebody and just lay it all on the table about how you feel, and then let the professional help you as well. That's also an option. We're here to help.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and Monica's, she's like doing Reiki too, I believe.
Yeah, all around, baby, for sure.
That and Reiki, am I wrong? I could be wrong because I don't know a ton about Reiki, but it can help because it helps balance everything.
Yeah.
But it can even help like balance your hormones, right? Because then you're not or am I way off in saying that?
No, you're not way off, because you can't ever be way off when it comes to your body healing and energetic, potent healing. Reiki is a very powerful practice. It not only stimulates healing on all levels, it really does. It stimulates the cells. It turns off that fight or flight mode. It promotes rest and relaxation. Right. The body, it just generates healing, and your body is smart enough to know where it needs to heal. Half the time, it's, especially as adults, we're just so bogged down. I always say we're running on an empty gas tank, and we don't have the juice or the energy to heal the big shit. Okay, I said it, right? We just don't have the energy to heal the big chronic stuff. So that's where these modalities come in, to give you that boost. It's the same thing with homeopathy. It's resurging your immune system. It's boosting your vitality so that you have the capacity to heal the stuff that's big, deep, and needs to be healed.
That makes a lot of sense. So is there obviously not arnica, but is there a special, what do you call them again? Remedies.
A remedy, yeah.
Is there a remedy specifically for fertility?
So there are remedies that are very beneficial for fertility, but here's the thing. Every case is so different. So I cannot sit here and give you a blanket statement. This remedy will help you with this. This remedy will help you with that. It's individualized. There are yeah, it has to be, right? Because let's say you have a painful period and I have a painful period. Well, our painful periods are going to be so different from each other, right? So it's about figuring out the individualization of what your experience is, what you're specifically dealing with, and then matching a remedy to your exact case. So there isn't blanket remedies for fertility per se. There's some like top 10 remedies that we use for fertility, but it's not going to be beneficial to you to just go buy it and pop some tablets and think that things are going to work out, because if it's the wrong remedy, it's not going to work in your system. Now, there are remedies that we can use to help lower stress acutely. So, I mean, I think we've all maybe heard of Rescue Remedy. It's a Bach flower. It's in a spray.
Yeah.
Very helpful when you're in an anxious state or you feel like you're just really nervous. A couple of sprays under the tongue. These are all completely safe to take. There's remedies like aconite, homeopathic aconite. If you're very panicky and you're living with a lot of fear, let's say before a procedure, you can take some homeopathic aconite to chill the nervous system. And then there's a really great remedy too, and we have to recognize this, for loss of any kind, but on the fertility journey, if we haven't had the results we're looking for, you can take the homeopathic remedy Ignatia, and that helps to get you through acute loss, to help raise your vitality and help you cope as you're dealing with what you're dealing with.
And that's so important, because I think for so many of us, anybody that goes through miscarriage, I think it's kind of just brushed aside and be like, okay, get over it, back to work, back to life. And we don't ever really grieve that loss, or we do as women, but life is still happening. So we kind of push it aside and deal with it. But it's all held inside. So we're even more anxious when we go.
Which does what, right? I always say you either suppress and your body will respond, or you express and your body will heal. There's two options. Right? It's natural.
That's good.
Well, it's true, right? The physical body responds to the emotional state. So that's why mindset's so important, right? And where you're at emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay, we're going to flip over to Instagram, right? We're going to talk about emotions and healing, like more homeopathy. So, okay, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to go live and you're going to invite yourself into the conversation. So give me 2 seconds. Thank you, everybody. We're going to leave Megan's details in the bottom. You can connect with her. If you have any questions, you can ask me and I can send it to her if you don't feel comfortable. What else is there to know? We're sending them all your links.
I'll send it over. Yeah.
This is going to be on the Facebook page forever now, I guess. So if you want, go back and listen if there's anything you missed. And follow us over to Instagram in about 4 seconds as soon as I can figure this out. And well, it may take me longer. Okay. Thank you, everybody.